Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. And I didn't tell Addie and Derek this, although they might have gotten an invite in their email. And I should explain for those of you that are new, Addie and Derek are our moderators. Addie's formerly homeless, and Derek currently lives in a tent encampment in Oakland. And I saw Charlie and Walter, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other homeless and formerly homeless friends in the chat room. This is going to be exciting. I am warning you right now, there will be rants, and there most definitely will be a few swear words. And I try not to swear, but there's certain words in the English language that are just perfect to talk about the stupidity of homeless sweeps. Well, what I did not tell Addie and Derek, and let me make sure that it's working because I just added them. They're going to love me for this. I just added them as moderators on Facebook, and we are live on Twitter and Facebook. And I don't know how this all works, and hopefully it is working. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. I do not know. We will find out soon enough. It isn't. Okay. There it should be. It wasn't live on Facebook, but it is now. Hello, Facebook. Hello, everybody. Really quick. I don't know how this all connects to Facebook. But what's interesting is at 8 o'clock this morning, I was not going to do a live stream. So it's good coffee today. And sorry about the repeat, but those of you joining on Facebook are new. And oh my gosh, we have, and I don't know how it works. We have been live streaming for a couple of years on YouTube every Sunday. We normally don't share links publicly. It's kind of just us. But I thought today's topic about homeless sweeps was so very important that it needed to expand. And what's interesting is Addie is formerly homeless. She's chat moderator. And Derek is currently homeless, chat moderator. I will argue the very best chat moderators on YouTube. And now let's see how they do on Facebook. And I don't know how it all connects. I don't think that you can moderate chat or whatever. So just so you know, the main community is over on YouTube. I shared links. That's where we hang out every Sunday. Occasionally we will broadcast like we are today. And now I got to go see Addie and Derek and how they are mad at me because I didn't tell them we were doing this. So Melka, I'm going to talk about German in Venice a little bit. I got to meet him. And I don't say anything behind somebody's back that I don't first say to their face. So I will talk about it a little later in context. But happy Sunday, everybody. What I will say, since you just made that comment, German in Venice, I believe, started with really good intentions. Or I mean, I don't think he had any bad intentions. He just learned that if he showed negative of homelessness, that he could get traffic. So nothing against German in Venice. That's the American way. If something works, you do more of it. But I talked to him about his content. And Melka, what German in Venice shows on his channel actually hurts efforts to help homeless people. So now I've been open and honest with him face to face. And I offered to help and I explained some things to him so he can no longer claim I didn't know. And really, all you have to look in the comments and you just see hate, 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 hate. German and Venice's content. And again, I don't think the man intentionally went and or is trying, and even now intentionally wants to hurt anybody. He just learned that if I share about homelessness, I can get traffic and make money. And in the man's defense, you know, the economy's hurting, his store is hurting, he's getting some extra income on YouTube that helps him. But the videos he shows on homelessness is hurting homeless people. And that is a fact. And as I told him, he has a choice. He has a choice to make a decision on future content. Are you going to produce something? Because as YouTubers, and we're a nonprofit, we're not YouTubers. We have, and I told him this, we have a responsibility to our audience, to ourselves, and in this situation, to homeless people. If you're recording content about homeless people, and I'll talk about this more later, when I'm ranting about YouTubers on showing homeless content, I'm more referring to that. And I said there was going to be swear words, didn't I? There's a growing genre of people just, and it's in Philadelphia, it's in Phoenix, they just throw they put their camera outside the window and drive through an area and show tents or drug addicts or mental illness, and they're making money for it, and it's growing. That's what I'm referring to. But let's get back to the topic at hand. And let's see what's happening. We do have a couple of people on Facebook. And again, I really do not know how this all works. Like I said, 8:00 this morning, I woke up and I said, I don't want to do a live stream. And it must have been great coffee because I went and produced a live stream show, and I'm a little late getting live, which I will stay a little longer to make sure we have a full hour. But let's dive right into the topic. I've been at homeless sweeps before, giant sweeps in Skid Row, other areas, but I was kind of detached. And the way the sweeps were happening, I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody. This sweep in K-Town this week was different. It was very, very much different. And I'm glad, I think Walter, you're still in the room? So I didn't see the sweep, but Walter has a video here on invisible people. He actually has two, where he talks about losing all his stuff. Him and his wife lost all their stuff in a homeless sweep. So I've been connected directly to homeless people who have lost all their stuff, but there's something about this sweep that really hit me. And first, I have to say, it's homeless people being displaced. It's homeless. Can you imagine the trauma of police? I'll show some stuff and we'll talk about it. So, the day after the sweeps, I went into some depression because I was empathizing with what was happening with homeless people. And my depression is minor compared to the trauma that homeless people face on the streets every day just trying to survive. And we're going to go through a little bit. I didn't plan on producing the show. I would have taken some other photos and some videos. I'm going to try to be at a suite tomorrow, and we're going to try to do a more produced piece, because you guys, you've seen other YouTubers just show the bulldozers and the tents being, the bulldozers removing the tents. But you have not seen the people. You have not felt the people that are being displaced, nor have, this is going to be a rant Sunday, nor has it been explained to you how utterly stupid it is. So at this sweep, you can show a before and after. In fact, German and Venice showed a before and after in MacArthur Park today, right? Those tents that were there, yeah, maybe the sidewalk is clean. They went to someplace else. So if a sidewalk is clean someplace, some other sidewalk is now full. Sweeps just move people. They do not end homelessness. My head's going to explode. It's going to be a rant day. Hold on. And Charlie said, ran on. And Charlie's formerly homeless, and Charlie experienced criminalization. There's people in the chat who have experienced criminalization. Derek, Walter, Charlie, maybe a few others. So the chat room is also a place to learn today. And if you're watching on, let me see if this is even playing on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, and I'm talking about the chat, go on over to YouTube, because that's where it's at. And I didn't mean to do the rhyme thing, but it was good coffee this morning, and we're a little hyper. So thanks to my friends at K-Town, I got some information that a sweep was happening close by. And I hurried the best that I could to get over to the suite. As a couple's late, one of the things I have to tell you, and I don't know if it's bureaucracy on the government's part. I don't know, or service providers. I don't know if it's incompetence or if it's even intentional, because all this, and I'm gonna swear. I'm telling you, I'm gonna swear, but I'm trying to limit it. They will post sweep notices and then not show up, or they post it and show up a different day. And it's extremely challenging for us as advocates just to be there to support homeless people. Some we know of, some we don't. But can you imagine you're a homeless person and the notice is just put up? You are, given, if you're lucky, 72 hours. Sometimes they don't get that to move all your stuff. And then they don't show up, or they show up on a different day, and then they confiscate all your stuff, all your belongings. What you need to see in this video is, see Jorge above me? Jorge was a homeless person that lived here and lost his stuff, watching the bulldozer come in. And I don't know if that was Jorge's shack tent, but in that area, that's where Jorge lived. So you'll see YouTubers showing the bulldozers and the heavy equipment coming in, but they don't tell you the truth about what's going on. And then NIMBYs say, oh yeah, get rid of them tents. Those tents went around the corner. Those people went around the corner, and you needed to see Jorge. Jorge, from what I am told, is a really kind man, and he helped people. One of my regrets, I don't have many regrets in life, but I regret living in Los Angeles and not learning to speak Spanish. Jorge spoke broken English, so we communicated a little bit. It wasn't enough. I didn't feel, so what's different about Invisible People is we put homeless people first. We put all people first. And I didn't feel that it was right. I did ask permission. I never would take a photo like this without permission. And Jorge had no place to go. He kept hovering around that area because he lost his home. He told me he lived there about a year, but he had no place to go. That's the thing, right? When those YouTubers, or when you are out driving around Los Angeles, and I got to say this right now, right? One of the excuses I get from people on social media or YouTube or whatever is, oh, I'm showing what it's like. You've got to be dead if you do not know that homelessness is growing anywhere, all over this country. The excuse is, oh, I'm filming this so I can show other people. Everybody in Los Angeles, everybody in Los Angeles, hang on, I got to clean the lens here. I'm frothing at the mouth. Everybody in Los Angeles, everybody in San Francisco, everybody in Detroit, everybody in Toronto, everybody in Vancouver, everybody in Saskatoon, everybody in London, everybody in Germany, everybody knows that there is a homeless crisis. It's a stupid, lame excuse saying that you are showing the crisis. People know it's there. What you need to do is show solutions, show how to help people. Show humans. There is people, real humans like Jorge in those tents. Jorge had his stuff. This is what he had left, and he's got no place to go. He's got to carry everything. So how many blocks do you think it was before he went and set up again? That's the thing about sweeps. You can show a before and after. Oh, look, the sidewalk's clean. Right? Those tents went someplace else. And please hear me. I do not believe homeless people should be on the sidewalk. I do not believe homeless people should be in a public park. I don't. But there's no place for them to go. And then until there's some place to go, these sweeps are stupid, they're cruel, and they are a waste of taxpayer money. They do nothing to end homelessness, and in fact, they make homelessness worse. Homelessness is skyrocketing, and these sweeps make homelessness worse because they're not ending homelessness. They're just pushing it to another block. Now, as I said, I was going to swear. I was told, now please hear me. The Los Angeles City Council was doing a vote on criminalization. I was told this tweet was seen by almost 200,000 people. The video, 30,000 times. You guys just watched it. That was instrumental in helping or causing the city council to postpone their vote on criminalization. There's a lot of people. I'm so impressed by the Los Angeles advocate community. They've been screaming about criminalization. They've been putting pressure on politicians. So it's not just Invisible People. It's not just Mark Horvath, right? There is a small army advocating for our unhoused neighbors. and they are awesome, and they deserve the credit for what they are going to make happen. I am only saying that this one tweet with this one video countered what the politicians were trying to say, that sweeps are compassionate. And this was video evidence that countered what the politicians were saying. And this tweet had influence. It had influence that postponed the vote. So now we all have to scream real louder so that they don't vote for more criminalization. This is where I wish I had taken more photos. This woman was sitting in this area. So there's an outreach team, case managers. I won't go into the whole bureaucracy because I know many of you are watching from other parts of the world. They're somehow, and it, you know what? It doesn't matter what the outreach team is. This happens to be Urban Alchemy. I'm very candid about Urban Alchemy. I believe they provide a service of maintaining bathrooms. I believe they provide a service of maintaining safe camping areas, but they should not be doing outreach. They set up this tent, this chairs. This woman was there. I'm going to play another video in a second where I show you. There was 5 Urban Alchemy outreach workers. 5. It's our tax money. There was like probably 10 LAPD, a bunch of sanitation workers, and you or we all pay for that. And so this woman is sitting there in the 4 hours. I'm the only one that I saw that went up and talked to her. I don't know the story. I assume she is waiting for help. She didn't get help. By the end of the day, she just walked away. The Urban Alchemy workers did fucking nothing. There it was. I swore, but they didn't do a fucking thing. They stood around looking at their phones, talking to themselves or talking to police. Oops. I'm in the.
This woman has been sitting in the tent there all day. I tried to talk to her a few times. I don't know what her story is, but here there's Urban Alchemy workers talking to police. I've been here all day, and I've seen no one since 1:30. It's 4 o'clock now, and 3.5 hours even try to talk to her. I've seen 5 Urban Alchemy workers here. None tried to talk to Jorge or this woman or any of the homeless. Why are they even here?
Why? Why are the Urban Alchemy workers there? I mean, I am not a math person. I'm even not a political person, but you have LAPD officers, at least 10. You have traffic. There was 2, 5 Urban Alchemy, sanitation, the gas for the heavy equipment. That's a lot of taxpayer money. And it's doing nothing to end homelessness. I'll show you in a second what happened to the people that were living there. It's doing nothing. And cops were just standing around. There was cops here, cops on their car, cops over there, cops everywhere. And they were just standing around. Just standing around. Now, I know they're there in case there's a confrontation or something happens or whatever, right? But if sweeps, so I don't know how to say this because sweeps aren't compassionate. It's a spin politicians put on it. This number is, I think, from 2019 or 2020. I don't know because of the CDC sweep stops, so the budgets might have changed. But Los Angeles used to spend $30 million on sweeps that actually do nothing to end homelessness and actually make homelessness worse. $30 million. That's 15 shelters they could build. But instead, you've got cops standing around. Los Angeles and any city, these sweeps are happening all over. Instead of spending money on these sweeps, could allocate the money to getting these people into housing. And please, I am not against shelters as long as the shelter has a path to housing. And while we're there, let's be honest. You'll hear politicians like Mitch O'Fucking-Liar Farrell say, sorry, but that Mitch O'Farrell and the word fuck and liar just are synonymous. They just go together. Mitch says 200 people were housed at Echo Park. That's a lie. He knows it's a lie. His staffers that tweet that know it's a lie. His staffers that write the PR reports and the newsletters know it's a lie. 4 people were housed in permanent supportive housing. The others went to Project Room Key, which is a temporary hotel room. And many of those went back to the streets. That's the truth of what's happening with sweeps. So at least they brought a porta potty for the homeless people, right? Wrong. This porta potty is for the urban alchemy and the police and the sanitation workers. It's locked. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, they're bringing a porta potty, right? Interesting enough, Los Angeles had porta potties around around homeless camps. Most of them have been removed now. I mean, Los Angeles needs more public bathrooms. I would assume so does Detroit and Denver and every place else. They removed them. They just removed them. And then one at a tent encampment I visit in Harbor Bay, they took the porta potties and put them across 4 lanes of traffic. So if you have to go pee, if you got to go shit, you've got to run across 4 lanes of busy traffic, which is dangerous. And the public complains about piss and shit, and they should. They should complain until bathrooms are installed. But this porta potty was not for homeless people. It wasn't. Oh my gosh. This is probably the most important photo out of all this series. So I'm just going to play the next video because it shows exactly what I'm going to talk about, and then we'll come back to this.
Sweeps are just fucking stupid. So over here is where they did the cleaning, and people don't have anywhere to go, so they came over here and started setting up their tents. And then these people over here, you can see them right there. Yeah, you see my ugly face too. These people over there came out and started screaming at them, you're not going to set up your tents there. Where are people to go? Where? You moved them from here to here, and now where are they to go? Where? There's no place for people to go. None. I mean, it's my first time being at one like this. This is horrible.
where the sidewalk was cleaned, those homeless people, I mean, some of them, if they had a car or some way to move further. But most, because they have stuff, just go around the corner. And these people in this apartment, who are probably screaming about the tent camp a block away, now the tent camp is across the street. And they came out bitching at the homeless people, saying, you are not going to set up your tent there. Where are they going to go? Where? There's no place for them to go. There's no place for them to go. This is what's missing when YouTubers show sweeps. They show the, excuse me, they show the bulldozers, and they show the before and after, and they show sanitation picking it up, but they don't talk about how stupid it is, and all those tents just moved to someplace else. We have a homeless crisis. Everybody knows it. The eviction moratorium is ended. There's other crises like the supply chain and employment and all kinds of homelessness is going to get worse. I'm a glass half full thinker. I try to think positive. But one thing I can tell you, guaranteed, while the nonprofits and politicians are saying, we're ending homelessness. We just built a 40-unit building. We're ending homelessness. And they gotta celebrate their successes. What I'm trying to say is homelessness is going to get significantly worse, and these sweeps will multiply homelessness, not reduce homelessness. So like this couple here, if you're supporting sweeps, right, those tents are going to come across the street from you. And when they're removed, they're going to go to somebody else's street. And then they're eventually going to come back to your street. And because more people are entering into homelessness, it's all going to grow. We, you, me, everybody has to advocate for real solutions that will end homelessness, get people the help they need, get them off the streets into a shelter that goes into housing. Because here is the when nonprofits say we housed people, and I give credit to the nonprofit at MacArthur Park for being very candid with me, because they said that it was passed. They said that they housed 261 people, and I asked them for details, and they said, well, that's since June, and none of them are permanent supportive housing. It's all Project Roomkey. And I am a supporter of Project Roomkey, and I also hate Project Roomkey at the same time. And Project Roomkey, if you do not know, it is placing homeless people into hotels. It's temporary. Where I hate Project Roomkey is some of them have really ignorant rules. Like our friend Rita, who you know on this channel, the Project Roomkey, it's a home key and a different name, same thing. Doesn't allow towels. I ran into a homeless person that was talking about their Project Roomkey has a 5 p.m. curfew. 5 p.m. You're an adult. You got to be inside 5 p.m. There was somebody, I don't know if it was Project Roomkey, but somebody else sent me a email from somebody who just got out of county jail. They said they were in a care home. I don't know what the specifics of the care home is, but they only let you out of the care home a few hours every day. So how do you, then the person, had some medical issues. He says, how do I go to the doctors? How do I look for a job? These rules, people, NIMBYs and different people say, they don't want to go by the rules. the rules are ignorant. The rules are often cruel. The rules actually prevent somebody from going from homelessness to housing. The rules are whacked. And that is the truth. And if we are going to end homelessness, now I have friends that have gone from Project Room Key into housing. That's great. They were in a good Project Room Key. What I have seen, and I didn't mean to talk about this, but since we're here, homeless shelters can do whatever they want. Project Room Key, it seems like, can do whatever they want. So if you have a organization that gets a contract to run Project Room Key hotels, they can make any rules they want. There's no governments, there's no rights, there's nothing that helps homeless people to make sure that their housing, even though it's temporary, has dignity and doesn't abuse them. And I have lived in homeless shelters that were abusive. This is Liz. Got a couple of things to say here. So I was at Echo Park. I was at Echo Park before the LAPD thing. I wasn't there when it happened. I was there a couple days before. There's a huge difference between Echo Park and MacArthur Park. The park, the homeless community, how it was handled, huge difference. So first off, let me state displacement, no matter what the reason. Politicians are saying that they're remodeling the park. That might be a good thing. However, you're still displacing homeless people. So even if it is a good thing, and there might be like Mitch fucking Lion Farrell, there might be an agenda behind saying they're remodeling the park, right? And what I'm talking about is Echo Park, Mitch. It's just madness. So maybe a park is being remodeled. Okay. Well, those people need housing. And again, homeless people shouldn't be living in public parks. Hopefully we can all agree on that. But what we need to agree on is people like Liz need a place to stay. And until that happens, they're going to live in public parks and on sidewalks. And here's a newsflash. It's going to get worse. You think homelessness is bad today? Give it 6 months, a year, and 5 years, unless we do something. You're going to see homeless people in every public park and every sidewalk unless we do something. If we keep on investing in sweeps, and if politicians keep on, if politicians keep on supporting sweeps, homelessness will continue to explode. Sweeps are not good. Sweeps are bad. So I talked to Liz. This is the night before the MacArthur Park action. Liz has a lot of stuff. We talked for a bit. And again, I asked permission to take this photo. Liz was worried about her belongings. She's got a lot of stuff. She said she was going to try to get it in storage, and then she was just going to move to the other side of the park. The good news is I heard from Path. She wasn't there. They were actually picking up some of her stuff, and I went up and asked the worker. I said, a woman named Liz was living here. Do you know what happened? And they said, yes, we put her stuff in the storage, and she's in Project Room Key. Great. So later on, I actually ran into Liz. And I just, again, my first, everything about invisible people is homeless people first. So I wanted to ask Liz for a photo because she looked great. She'd showered, she'd slept. She, and peaceful. When you're sleeping in a park, there's no rest. And Liz looked great. She looked great, great, great. So I wanted to take a picture. it just didn't feel right. And so we were talking, and I asked, so they put your stuff in storage? And she says, no, they didn't. They're lying. And this is really for all of us that are telling the stories of homeless people. Whenever possible, like I said, I was in shelters and I was abused. There's a lot of abuse that goes on, and there's a lot of good that goes on. And we need to scream about the abuse, and we need to encourage the good. Scream about the abuse and encourage the good. So Liz told me Path was lying. And just so happened the worker still was in the park. I walked back over. I asked the worker. I told her that, Liz was there, and the worker was really amazing. And her first, she was going to go connect with Liz. Like, I want to go help her. Right. And I said, hold on. Liz told me the stuff, that you guys weren't being honest, that her stuff. And the worker said, no, we put her stuff in. And so later, the worker, and this is a photo I really wish I had gotten. So the worker and Liz were hanging out, and it was like two women having tea, right? Sharing stories. Liz was glowing. The worker was smiling, right? So I confirmed again with Liz and the worker, Liz's stuff did make it into storage. So when you see a YouTuber or social media or a politician sharing photos of a tent and a bulldozer, you need to remember there's real people in those tents. Liz was lucky. She had someplace to go. But Jorge didn't. Jorge is still out on the streets someplace with no place to go. When sweeps come in and displace people, it's not a good thing. You cannot show a before and after and have it's not being honest, because the after, those tents went to another area. Maybe that sidewalk is clean, but another sidewalk has the tents. It just pushes people around. So the sweeps push people around, and more people are entering into homelessness. I'm not the smartest person. I'm really not. But it's easy math. Sweeps push people around, do nothing to end homelessness, actually make it harder to help people, cause trauma. I mean, the trauma homeless people experienced one of these sweeps. I remember, I don't know, I haven't been looking at the chat. I will in a second. I remember Walter explaining to me when he lost his stuff. The workers came and they dumped all of his stuff on like a tarp, if I remember right. And Walter was allowed to just take a couple of things, and the rest they take downtown. How are you? Anyways, sweeps are bad. Sweeps are ignorant. Sweeps are cruel. Sweeps are a waste of taxpayer money. If German in Venice shows you a video of tents being removed and you're in the comments going, good, they shouldn't live in the park, well, all parks are going to be filled with homeless people soon, because those people that were in tents were not housed. They were just pushed someplace else. And we have to end homelessness. More people, it hasn't come out this year, but every year, the amount of people that are dying outside keeps growing. And maybe you don't care about homeless people, and maybe you are like, don't have a heart and don't care that people are dying. Well, maybe you should start caring about your wallet, because as a taxpayer, you pay huge money. Getting people into housing saves your money. Sweeps waste your money. Then, there's these lies. Well, it's mental illness or it's addiction. Okay. You get somebody into treatment, which only lasts up to 28 days because that's all insurance pays for. And then they're exited back to homelessness. And if you're living in a park and having to shit behind a dumpster, you might as well have a beer. You go back to using drugs and the cycle starts again. Forced treatment. People go, oh, they've got mental illness and addiction. We've got to force them into treatment. Okay, you force them into treatment, then they're exited back to homelessness. Forced treatment doesn't work. Okay, well, then let's arrest them. Already they're releasing people from prisons because there's not enough jail cells. Los Angeles, California, Seattle, New York, you cannot arrest our way out of homelessness. There's not enough jail cells. In California, it's $80,000 a year per inmate. In friggin' New York City, it's 160 per inmate, 160,000, right? You've seen my video of Lanny. It was 14,000 a year. We got Lanny in a single apartment at 14,000 a year, and he, got welfare for food and food stamps. So for 14,000, we ended homelessness by putting Lanny in an apartment. And people say, I don't want to give them free housing. Okay, you want to pay $80,000 for them to be in jail? That's fucking free housing too. You want to pay for them to go into rehab? You want to pay for them to go into a treatment facility for only 28 days? Remember, insurance, you pay for that. It's your taxes. And then they're exited back to homelessness. If there is not housing, homelessness grows. If there is not housing, homelessness grows. Sweeps will... Okay. I'm coming back down to earth now. I'm going to go look at the chat. So for those of you on Facebook, hello, we're trying Facebook for a first time. When I talk about chat, we're over on YouTube. Come on over and join us. There's a bunch of formerly homeless and homeless people and the Invisible People family are all hanging out in the chat room on YouTube. So, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to have a little drink. Man, that's exactly right. I mean, even in New York City, which has high, extremely high, rents, you could put somebody in housing and have social workers visit for far less than putting them in jail. Dano, we missed you last week. Malka, no, I mean, I talked to German in Venice, right? I commended him for growing his channel. He's, making significant impact. He tried to give a bunch of excuses as to why he does what he does, but I came right out and said, look, your content hurts homeless people. So now he cannot no longer use those excuses. And he has a responsibility. I said, why don't you, use your influence to help support? Why don't you use your influence to help support homeless people in Venice? Here, and I gave a bunch of different examples, and I'm believing German in Venice. I think Mike is a good guy, and he just kind of lucked into it. He had a shop in Venice, and all of a sudden there's homeless people right in front and bulldozers. He pulled out a camera. I don't think he intentionally tried to do anything. And if you're just a newbie to the homeless conversation, you're going to film what you see. And that's what he did. And people started following. But now that he has got an audience, he needs to, I recommended to him, take some responsibility and think about the content he produces and ask, is showing this bulldozer removing tents helping homeless people or hurting homeless people. So I showed several bulldozers today, but I also talked about Jorge and Liz and other people. I also talked about the reality of sweeps. I talked about how sweeps are bad. And that's the difference. And hopefully Mike will make a pivot and start doing content that helps homeless people instead of hurting homeless people. So, wonder how this all works on Twitter. So since I started late, I'm going to go a little longer. Hopefully you don't mind. Trying to I think yeah, Melk, I think the bottom line is Mike is a good guy and he's learning and bumping and going. And now, I mean, you know, he even said, now I know. So now he knows. So it's up to him to change. A1 and A2, I don't think anybody's a lost cause. Walter, I am so glad you're in the chat. So I've mentioned Walter a couple of times. And Walter, I got to come visit you. You haven't been bugging me. Walter is now in housing. Walter is a great example. And Walter, I'm, oh gosh, Jay, I am not Jesus. Walter is a great example of how to do storytelling in Venice and how we can end homelessness. Walter was candid about his mental illness. Walter was candid about Republicans. Walter was candid about criminalization. Walter was candid. I mean, Walter was one of those people on Venice Beach for years that wasn't being helped. And all of a sudden, they were able to get him into housing. It wasn't easy. They made a lot of mistakes, roadblocks, different things. But Walter and his wife are in housing. That's two people off the streets in Venice that are now in housing. And those are the stories. We need to hear from Walter when he is homeless, and we need to hear from Walter when he's in housing. Real Planet X videos. Anybody that calls homeless people a zombie is a fucking asshole. Felix is asking, are they doing anything for homeless people that are mentally ill and physically ill? They're trying to house people. The problem is there's not any housing. And Infinity, there's no battle between me and anybody except the fight for homelessness. Suwar, how are you? Suwar asked a good question. So, and Walter probably can type a little bit about this, and other people that lost everything. They have a holding place downtown Los Angeles. So you don't have a car. They give you, I think, 2 like bags. So you're only allowed to carry a couple of things. And then they give you a receipt and you're supposed to go pick up your stuff. But if you don't have a car or truck or anything, you just lose it. It's really stupid. We have a heroin problem, and we definitely have a fentanyl problem. We need to start treating addiction as the health crisis that it is. Hey, Peter, great question. And I don't know where you live, but I tell everybody the best thing to do is research and find a homeless service provider that is working to end homelessness, not just maintaining, but working to end homelessness. And then try to it's funny. I was trying to show a comment that Derek deleted at the same time because I was going to respond to it. And our admins or our moderators are the greatest. So, Peter, back to your question. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. And Real Planet X, real quick. I warn you, humans, you're not warning us. We already know. If you're calling humans zombies, you're an asshole. They're humans. They are humans. Just because they do drugs. I did drugs for 30 years. Drug addicts are real people. They are not zombies. And anybody that calls a human a zombie just because they do drugs, you're an asshole. That's probably Eddie. That was a sweep I was going to tomorrow. Remember how I started? Peter, I'm going to get back to you. I promise. I'm like the Tasmanian devil. So there was a sweep scheduled for tomorrow, and then they just moved it to Thursday, but they don't know if they're actually going to move it or not. My gosh, is it incompetence, bureaucracy, or do they do this shit intentionally, just psychological warfare? So, Peter, find local nonprofits that are working to end homelessness, not just maintain it. There is a difference. Try a few of them. It's not that a nonprofit is bad. They just might not know how to manage volunteers. And it could be you have 20 people in your in a kitchen with a broom and nothing to do, and it just ends up being a awkward, not a very good experience. We'll go to another one, right? And if you're in a city that happens to have, they call them mutual aid groups like K-Town for All, Ciela, the West Valley people up in Chatsworth, who I got to get back to and visit. There's now mutual aid groups. I can call them community action groups. I know there's some in Minnesota. I assume they're in most cities. So, and when you find a community action group, find one that is working with service providers, because it's okay to give somebody a sandwich, but you've got to work to get them out of homelessness. And that is so very important. And thanks for asking. I got to do a video on that, don't I? Flying over Trout has joined us, or it might have been here all the time. I'm only looking now. Sorry. So Tuli, I might be pronouncing it great. How would I know a fake homeless person from a real one who's begging money on the street? That's a really, really, really good question. What I have learned is most of the people that are faking it aren't really faking that they're homeless. If you ask them, are you homeless? They'll say, no, I got an apartment. I just can't make ends meet. So they're still experiencing poverty. After they pay rent, they just don't have any other money. And so they're out panhandling. The one that breaks my heart that I don't know, because if I see a child outside, I immediately stop it. I mean, I could have an appointment, I could be going to the doctors or something. And if I see a mom with a kid outside panhandling, I stop to help them. And often in conversation, really quick, I can tell that they're out there scamming. And when I say scamming, they probably need the money, right? So it's a mom out there trying to raise money to raise their kids, but they got their kids out on the side of the street and they're teaching their kids how to panhandle. I'm going to cry. It's heartbreaking. I see it all the time. I really do. I really do. There's also, and I know you didn't ask this, but it's similar. There's aggressive panhandling. There's people that are just too aggressive. There may be mental illness, might be addiction, might be that they're extremely hungry. Usually when there's aggressive panhandling, there's a lack of services. There's the one, I haven't traveled a lot recently because of COVID, but the one that comes to mind is Atlanta. Atlanta has really, really aggressive panhandling. So I gotta say it's a gut thing. As you can imagine, I'm pretty good. I have a lot of street sense, but I get fooled too. And if you happen to give $1 or $5 or $20 to somebody who's lying, Enron, Bernie Madoff, donating in the Trump campaign. Those are people that are rich and are lying, right? So most people are honest. So Dada, there's some truth to that. Drugs take over. I had a friend that was addicted to drugs and his kids were watching cartoons and he came in and unplugged the TV and grabbed the TV to go take it to pawn it to buy drugs. Unplugged the TV while his kids were watching it. And I know that's not stealing. He owns his own TV, but it's one example that it's shown how drugs take over somebody's conscious. So I'm not saying stealing is okay. It's not. But there's a point where drugs takes over, and when I was on drugs, I needed drugs more than I needed air. And if I didn't get drugs, I got dope sick. If I got dope sick, I'd be vulnerable. If I'm vulnerable, I'm gonna get thumped in the park, and I wouldn't be here today. And again, I'm not advocating for drug use. I'm not advocating for stealing. God, no. But we need to treat addiction as the health crisis that it is. Hey, thank you, Anonymous. Anonymous gave some donations today. Thank you. Okay, it is 12 after. Yeah, so I'm going to use my own life. The dad was talking about sister and dangerous. And, I stole from my mom. There was a period of time my mom would not let me in the house. Then for the last 4 or 5 years, I took care of my mom. We change. We got to give people a chance to get better. We got to give them opportunities to get better. We just can't throw humans away. We need to keep giving humans as many chances as they need to change and get better. So one thing I was going to do today is I was going to test the old time slot, because how many people are on right now? We have 188. It used to be we had 300 live all the time. And it was growing. So we're a lot less than we used to. And I was going to test another time slot. Actually, I wasn't going to produce a show today. I was just, Addie asked me last night, are we doing a stream? And I went 50-50, because 50% of me wanted to do it and 50% was like, and then I got up and, we're now on Facebook and Twitter. And just so you guys know, I'm going to repeat for those of you that are new. We go live Sundays. The time might change. We're trying to find a new time while I'm in the West Coast. It's a YouTube thing. Today I shared on social media. And we're actually streaming on Twitter and Facebook. I don't do that a lot, and we have a fundraiser in there. The only reason I have a fundraiser is you guys would all give super chats, and I can't stop you from doing that. It's a YouTube feature, and YouTube takes 30%. So if you give $1, YouTube got 30% or 30 cents, and 70 cents went to invisible people. And we, as you can see, with our impact this week, we do good work. It's important. Remember, we're on Apple News and Google News. Open up your phone, no matter where it is. Type in invisible people in the news app or homelessness, and we're there. We're there educating the public. We do good work. But I wanted this chat to be about community. But YouTube was kind enough to hook us up with this donation feature. So 100% of the donation goes to invisible people, none goes to YouTube. And YouTube needs to make money too. I'm not saying that they don't, but if you're giving to a nonprofit, I'm grateful that YouTube made this donation. So that's why it's there. Occasionally we might do a video like we did on my 25th anniversary of sobriety and homelessness. We did a fundraiser where we're intentionally trying to raise money, but like videos like today, it's not a fundraising. It's just us hanging out. I learned so much from you guys. You guys have helped shape this channel. You've told me what you like, what you didn't like. Just so you know, I know you guys like the first person stories, and I'm out almost every day. But because of the displacement, which we're talking about now, it's harder to find people, and I won't ever videotape somebody without their permission or somebody that would shame them in any way. So at the end of the day, everything we do is nobody gets hurt, right? And that's so very much important. So I am trying. I hear you in the comments. I know you want the first person stories. We're going to work on it. We're going to, we're trying to, we're producing a video right now with Luciana, who helped do mobile on eviction. Crystal, who did our video on Echo Park, might even go this week. Did a story on a choir on Skid Row. I shot a little bit of a art festival on Skid Row yesterday. So we're going to get up other content. I'm just saying that first person content that you love so much, we're working on it. It's something that, we can't manufacture. We can't, it has to happen organically, and it will. I just want you to know that I hear you. I'm listening. We're working on it. It just sometimes just doesn't happen overnight. Lady T's in the house. Saldine, there's tunnels in Vegas. I know I've heard of tunnels in New York City. There's a homeless woman in our support group where was she? She was in Phoenix in a tunnel. K-City, I'm saying because of displacement, it's harder to find people. And people they're homeless people are in survival mode. And, if you're constantly having to move all the time, you don't want to talk into a camera. And so I'll give you a good example. I was with a wonderful advocate, Danny, who goes out in the camps all on her own. I've been trying to talk her into doing a video. I have huge respect for Danny. She's a young woman. She goes out. She does a shopping list and takes homeless people out. And go shopping. She even last week took a homeless person with her to go to the store to shop for other homeless people, right? Just amazing. And we met a girl, Fox, who wants to go on and tell her story, and I'm going to contact with her. But it was right after a sweep, and I wanted her to talk about the sweep, and right after, it's fresh in her memory, but she was hyper. She was just really, really hyper, and it wasn't a good time. And she said, I'm, because of the sweep and moving stuff, I'm dirty. I don't feel good. So being displaced, it's not just about finding people, it's the mental attitude. If I have a bad day, I don't want to go on YouTube, right? So homeless people are people too. And the thing about what we do is we respect everybody. I never push, oh, come on, do your story, or I'll pay you, or because then they're acting and it's not authentic. So, Dad, I got to go back out to the homeless camp there, the jungle you're talking about. Okay, we are coming down to the last bunch of minutes. I don't know if anybody watched on, I think, so we use StreamYard now, and StreamYard is supposed to give you the comments from the other channels. And there is comments. Oh my gosh, there's 22 comments. Hey, Facebook, how are you? I'm going to go over and look at the comments. And Addie and Derek, you're moderators on our Facebook now. I didn't, and sorry, Addie and Derek, if you're new here, Addie and Derek, Addie's formerly homeless, Derek's currently homeless. They are the best moderators on the planet. But in true hardly normal Mark Horvath fashion, I gave them no advance notice that we're doing multi-channel this morning. Hey, Tram. Hey, John. Hello, hello. The Troll Patrol, Dano. I'm going to have to get them shirts. Well, Addie keeps asking for invisible people swag. I think I got her one. I'm going to have to hook her up. So, folks, we went about an hour and a half. I love talking to you. I learned from you so much. Forgive the swearing today. Like the tweet that I shared that helped the city council postpone their vote. I mean, it has a F-bomb right at the start. So just by showing that screenshot, I knew some cussing was going to come out. Walter, I got to get down to visit you, Walter. I know we didn't hook up because of COVID, and then you had some challenges, but I want to see your new apartment. So, folks, again, pay attention to the community section. The time will change. I'm trying to find a time that works for all of us. It's really hard to get guests at this time on Sunday morning. West Coast anyways. I got a couple lining up that hopefully we'll get on soon, but the time of this show might change a little bit, and I will always let you know. For those of you on Twitter and Facebook, this is our first multi-channel. Please let me know if you like it. We'll try to do more. Thank y'all. Thank you. Listen to me, y'all, like I'm from the South. A month from now, I'm going to be in New York City. You guys remember the interview with Shams, who is a homeless advocate, DA, which is so New York, the homeless hero on Twitter. And then Dr. Kelly, who is a emergency room physician in New York City, who does a lot of work educating medical professionals about homelessness, and a few others we're going to be connecting with. And then we have the choir from Skid Row that hopefully will be up this week, if not this week, next week. And I got a couple of videos in the can I'm going to try to get up. And a couple of you emailed. I just off the cuff said I need some live stream producers. I didn't get a chance to respond. I saw your email. I'll go back through. Thank you. I do need some help producing this. And I really appreciate you guys emailing me. If you do email, I get lots of communications. I don't mind reminders if I don't respond right away. It means I just missed it. So thank you, everybody. The first part of this video on the sweep was really good. Hopefully that you guys learned something from it. We've got to stop these sweeps. We've got to stop these sweeps. And it's you guys, you know, I still believe in America, and politicians are supposed to do what we ask them to do. So you all need to ask your politicians to stop these sweeps. Well, everybody, thank you so much for another wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you next week.